way, baby. Pepsi, wild cherry.
Now that we have come to be.
Whoa! Wild cherry Fridays. Let's go. Fan meal if you want to connect with your favorite artist.
The reasons are because of you. I can go on and make it through. I can't even take my mind off loving you. And I wanna say I never knew there was love.
Mama Silvers, what's up, baby? Michael Man, I see you. This is the big, big.
I know you can't see all the things you mean to me.
Let's go.
I'm so amazed that you are mine.
This is the big, 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 big show.
If we can work together,
Non-stop.
maybe this can last forever.
Go as a go as executive producer rocking. Oh. This is a wild cherry Pepsi Friday. Shout out cousin Miriam, Remy Ma on the check-in, my goddaughter on the check-in, the big, 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 big. Love like. Oh, yeah, stop, yo, when your daughter turns 14 and starts making certain faces while she's dancing, Ro Parrish, what's up? I know we had to push it back because Faith wasn't ready yet. And so, you know, it's conflicting with the playoffs, but, you know, we gotta, you know, we live, man. And so, you know, shout out Stevie J, her husband. And so we live. It's a wild cherry Pepsi Friday. New Friday alert. Pepsi wild cherry. Pepsi wild cherry. It's a new Friday alert. And so all we trying to do is pay our bills responsibly. That's it. And so, you know, Faith Evans, a living legend. Some would say one of the greatest of all times. One of the great vocals of all time. And so I invited her on the show. I hope she shows up today. You know how we do. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, we are the biggest in the game. We are the biggest in the game. The one and only, y'all, Faith.
Hey.
Yo, Faith, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. But let me just, because I actually tried to request a little while ago, but you didn't see it. But the lateness and the misunderstanding of the time is because you hit my husband. See, I'm the administrative one in the household, and something told me at 2 p.m. today, because he was on a flight coming back from dropping Bonnie off in Miami. So I said, let me ask him, is he sure it's 8 p.m. our time? Because Fat Joe is not in LA to my knowledge. And I'm like, that don't make sense if he's going to be on at 11 p.m. And surely enough, he hit me back and said, oh, but I had a lash appointment. And I was like, I'm going to be in my lash appointment at 5 o'clock. So
Faith, I've always dealt with you out of respect my whole life. You know, we ain't never really kick it that much, but it's always haven't really kicked it that much out of respect, right? So now Biggie was your husband. That was my man, my brother. Stevie J, that's my brother. He's your husband. Like, so, you know, when you old school like Fat Joe, you got to go through.
Well, no, that's exactly what I said. I said, no, I know he hit Stevie because Stevie's my husband. He's a husband. He has a wife, and that's just the proper channels to go through. However, in this situation, I should have followed up.
Yo, babe, I'm honored to have you. I'm gonna be all over the place.
That's all good.
You remind me of we had a show together in like San Francisco somewhere, and when you came on, I was there to see your set, and Stevie came out first, and he was playing the guitar, some shit, and I'm just thinking, you know, I know Stevie J 20-something years, so I'm looking at him, I'm like, oh my God, this is how it's going down. He came out first, he started playing some shit, then you got like, oh my God.
You know, he loves to get the response of, you know, from people. I probably told him, wait till the second song before you do that. Nah. He's like my hype man sometimes. Hey, all the ladies.
No, that boy got your back though, like on another level,
brother.
Yo, Stevie!
How you doing,
What's
bro?
What's up, baby?
Much love. I just came in here to say what's up, man. I'm gonna go back in there and take care of the boy. You know what I'm saying? Much love to you, and I love what you're doing, man.
You look good, man.
Success, man.
You look good, bro.
Thank you, man. Just working out and taking care of this family.
Boy.
Man, it's all good, man. You have a wonderful
love, Steve.
Love you.
Woo!
Love you, brother.
That's what I'm talking about, babe. Yo, babe.
Hey, Kay. Oh, Joe, let me tell you real quick, because she's on here. She's going to make sure. But my homegirl, one of my good girlfriends, Big Cap's wife, K Makeup, she's been telling me for a long time with your other joint. She's like, you got to go on his show. It'll be so great. So when she found out I was going to do this, she was so happy. I see her on here. So shout out K Makeup.
She's beautiful people, man.
Yes.
I've worked with her before.
Yeah.
And, you know, Big Cap, you know, that's family. You know what I'm saying? Rest in peace, Big Cap. And his wife, she's cool as hell, man.
Yeah. She got me a bad rap.
I work with her a lot.
Good. Huh?
I've worked with her a lot.
Yeah, she spoke so highly of you, and she, you know, she was like, "Oh my God, I know you guys would do such a great interview. You got to go on his show." So, yeah, she's been trying to.
Let me start off light, Faith. COVID-19. How you been dealing with this thing?
Well, unfortunately, but fortunately, in terms of the whole quarantine thing, you know, we have a son who's on the autism spectrum. My son Ryder's 13. And so we have been dealing with a lot of legal issues with the school district for a few years. So we were kind of in the middle of our latest lawsuit, and we pulled him out of school probably 4 months before the COVID thing happened. So it didn't so much affect our household in the sense of the homeschooling thing, but with him not having his activities and stuff, we started to rent RVs like every other weekend because he likes to ride. So we'll just take him driving, you know, go drive to Arizona, drive to Vegas. You know, the Airbnb thing has been pretty popular. But aside from that, I mean, I'm pretty much a homebody. They call me Granny, actually, all my friends. I go to bed at 8 p.m. I get up at 4 or 5 a.m., you know. So
it's the weirdest thing because I know a bunch of artists, sex symbols, whatever, and when you really find out about them, they stay home and read books and stuff like that, and you be like, damn, I didn't know such and such as a homebody like that. So my oldest son, Joey's autistic too.
Oh, you know what? I read that. I did read that somewhere.
Yeah, so you know,
right?
Huh?
He's an adult now, right?
He's nonverbal and he don't walk, but he's the happiest baby in the world. He's like, to us, he's gonna always be the baby, even though he's my oldest kid.
Right.
But I feel like we get all our blessings from them.
Right. Absolutely.
You know, because it's hard for any parent that has autistic kids, regardless. But They're always happy, and we get all our blessings for them. So, just so you know that I understand.
Yeah, and it certainly teaches you, patience if you didn't already understand that. You know, our our son is verbal, but very it's very not on the level of a 13-year-old, but he is verbal. However, it's still very challenging, because he's so smart and he has so much inside him. The fact that he can't fully express those things sometimes does lead to frustrations and leads to certain behaviors, which over the years, we have learned to redirect or how to handle those situations. But he's a very happy kid, and I know God put me in charge of put me in places being his mother for a reason.
That's true. You know what? Are you in a happy place in your life right now, Faith? Because I've watched interviews in the past, and we can't even imagine the type of shit you've been through, but I've watched you in interviews and said to myself, this woman has gone through some shit. I can see it. I've gone through a lot of shit. Being Fat Joe, growing up in the hood, going through all this shit. But I've seen it in your interviews, just reading between the thing, like, but are you in a happier space in your life now?
I think that the fact that well, I know that God prepared me for whatever my path was. I mean, I didn't know I was going to end up being a recording artist, or being in the music business in this capacity. I just knew I wanted to make money with my musical gift, whether that was singing in a hotel lobby or whatever. But I went through things way before I was in the industry that I know prepared me for what was to come, and I think that the wisdom I have because of my experiences and because I've always kind of been thought a little bit ahead of myself and ahead of a situation, or tried to, I think I'm more so blessed and more so happy because of the fact that I understand things, and I don't, I'm one of those people that I fall back and watch things, and I ain't got to say everything I know. I ain't got to say everything that's on your mind. You know what I mean? So yes, I'm happy about those things. I'm happy to still be here, to be alive, to be healthy, to be able to raise my son with special needs, to have someone in my life who's a support system in the way that he is, regardless. I mean, we know that life itself has challenges, relationships, marriages have challenges, but to add in the factor of having 10 kids between us and a child that has special needs, you know what I'm saying? So,
And a husband who's a full deck.
he's
I used to hang
full.
out with Stevie J.
Hey, listen. That's Stevie. But listen, right, that's coming off of all of that. It was a full buffet, not a full plate. He's a buffet.
Man, you got your hands full. Let me. What I was gonna tell you, I know you definitely proud of CJ and his acting, and he the young king, the young Don. Like, how do you feel as a mother watching him, grow into being this young man? That it looks like he got it figured out.
I must say that I've always been proud of all of my children, just in that they are, considered, I guess, I don't walk out the house considering myself a celebrity, but I guess these days you can't get away from that, but they grew up with me as their mom, and I think they're all very well-rounded and grounded, but that's how I am, and I don't really expect anything different. But CJ, being that he's the product of myself and Big, who is undeniably, the greatest, and all the things that come with that, CJ, I've always been proud of how cool he is, but like I said, that's how I am, and if Big was around, that's how Big would be, because that's just, we're people. And I think the fact that I raised my kids to understand what it means to be humble, humility, and not to take, you're so serious, because they had that example on me. So I'm glad that, you know, it rubbed off.
God bless, man. And you, all this happened to you so young. You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, although we was young, we thought we knew everything, but your first album, first of all, did you know while you was making your first album that it was special, that it was going to be a classic?
That I did not know. Like I said, I didn't necessarily, it's not like I had a demo going around like an artist package trying to be an artist. When I met Puff, I was pregnant with my daughter, China. And it just so happened that her dad was a producer with this production crew from Newark called Three Boys from Newark, which Vincent Herbert was a part of. And they were working with like Christopher Williams, Al B. Shore. So I was in college, you know, on an academic scholarship at Fordham, but I always sang. I was, you know, singing everywhere: weddings, funerals, bar mitzvahs, retirement parties, school, church, you know, pageants, whatever, always singing somewhere. But I had gotten into learning how to produce myself because I did a gospel record, you know, back in the day. And the guy who recorded it had a little home studio in the Bronx. So I would sneak out the window from my house in Newark, go to the studio in the Bronx, no money to get back home, get a whooping when I came back, not even realizing that the fact that this guy just taught me how to record myself and produce myself, which I never knew would serve any real purpose in life. By the time I met Puff 5 years later, I was already very proficient, you know, like I went in the booth and changed everything around, and, you know, and he immediately asked me that I want to sign to his new label. I wasn't there for that. They just needed a girl to sing on something. I was there with my baby in the lounge, you know, so things just kind of happened by way of me being around it and me already kind of having that gift and that talent, but it was more of a hobby, you know.
Yeah, you know, when I was at I'm gonna be all over the place, right? But when I was in when 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 I went to Kim Porter's funeral, right? So Faith's already a living legend, an icon. But when I went to that funeral and you sung at that funeral, uh, I learned a whole new respect for Faith. Like when I was there, it was your performance in that funeral was so powerful, was so beautiful, that I was sitting there like, Jesus Christ, I cannot believe I'm a fan of Faith, but I have never heard her blow like that. You went, you know, you went there on another level. Tell me what that was like singing that at Kim Porter's funeral.
Well, it's to hear you say that, it made me remember those type of moments. But like, in that moment, it was more of, I was very emotional, and it was more kind of in the spirit. Like, you know, um, I think the last funeral I sang at, well, no, I may have sang at, I know I sang at my grandma's, but like Big's funeral, some out of body experience. You know, I was very emotional at Kim's funeral, emotional for her kids, for Puff, just, you know, and also honored to be, you know, that Puff's, you know, asked me to be a part of it. But you got to remember, that's where I came from. You know, I came from church. I grew up, I sang, the first place I sang was in church at the age of 2, or, you know, 2 or 3.
Faith, let me tell you
So,
something. There's a lot of people come from church, and I heard a lot of people sing. But at that funeral, you sang so special.
well, see, that's what I'm saying. Thank you. But I think that was way more just a spiritual thing, because I know it wasn't the most technically correct performance. You know, there probably was some cracks and some off notes, but I was also in the spirit and my emotions, you know, sort of kind of crying in my own way. So the fact that it came across that way, that's nothing but God.
That's crazy. Let me tell you something. Speaking of this, you get me into like, rest in peace, Whitney Houston. You know, one of the greatest of all time, Jersey girl. And y'all did that Heartbreak Hotel. And I don't know if it was out of love or it was out of hate, but my wife would play that shit 100 times a day. I didn't know if she was stabbing me with the voodoo doll.
Shout
I
out
was
Lola
getting love.
Milan.
Yeah, Lola Malone was stabbing me or something. Every day I come in the house 100 times. Heart, break, hotel. I'm like, sheesh, like what's in her mind? What was it like working with Whitney, and did you really know her?
Well, it was awesome working with Whitney because by the time we worked together, we had become friends. But her befriending me is just the most awesomest thing ever because
I'm sure you was
Whitney Houston.
I'm sure you was in elementary singing, I believe our children are the future.
Absolutely. I sang it in a pageant one time. I mean, you know that everybody sang that song, but she made it even more special. But when Whitney Houston came up to me at my very first Clive Davis party when I had to perform and I was so nervous, and she's walking down the hall singing the intro to my first album, I Have the Faith. And somebody was like, bitch, that's Whitney Houston. I was like, no, it ain't. And she came up to me and she was like, you dope. Oh, I'm from Jersey too, da da da. And then, you know, we would see each other in passing. And once Big passed away, she really embraced me. She started like, you know, reaching out to me. She invited me to Donatella Versace's house. She just really embraced me. And it had nothing to do with music. We didn't even record together yet. She just kind of obviously felt that I was going through something and felt that she could, you know, lend herself to lift me up. And she was just the coolest. She was the coolest person to be around.
It's crazy because when Big Pun died, we had a funeral for him, and the whole room was just like a whole funeral. It felt like a whole funeral was just flowers from people who sent their thing. Whitney Houston sent about 6 different flowers to Big Pun, and we never met her.
Wow.
And it was the big wreaths, and rest in peace, Big Pun, I love you, Whitney Houston. Rest in peace, Big Pun, we love you, Whitney and Bobby. Like every kind of 5 or 10 flowers we walked into, it was another Whitney Houston.
But Whitney was so hood. You know what I mean? You know, Whitney is from Brick City. Bricks. Whitney probably knew all y'all records. That's what I'm saying. Like, Whitney
was Whitney hood? Like, when you talked to her, was it like hood? Because, you know, we look at Whitney like the body. Was she talking? Like, you know, when I met Denzel Washington for the first time, he was talking so much shit, babe. Like, I was like, Denzel? Like, you, fuck that. Y'all know what it is. I used to be up in Spanish Harlem with the Puerto Ricans. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, Denzel? Like, this is Denzel Washington? Like, I had the greatest time with him. But so Whitney was talking that shit like that?
When Whitney before we kind of really became friends and she would come over my house and Chrissy would spend a night with China, the first time she'd see me out at like somebody's mansion party, and you know, she realized I was at a table and she might smell the weed. She always made her way over there. And she always, you know, said, I'm going to get a corner and we're going to sit. She's like, let me get away from this shit. I know I can keep it real with you. Come over here. Like, you got some weed. Like, you know, that was pretty much how we started seeing each other in public. I mean, mind you, it's not in public, but it's in public, you know. But she was like, I just want to be me, you know. Like, come on. I know you got some weed. Roll up.
And you want to know what's crazy? Because you definitely look like the homegirl that when your girl's going through it, you the shoulder to lean on. It looks like you the one that'll tell you all their business and shit and start like.
But that's funny you say that, because my good friends be like, you know, you give good advice, but I'm like, well, I only give it if you ask for it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the type, I ain't in nobody's business. I mean, you know, but if you ask my opinion, I'm gonna try my best to give you some good advice based on not even only my experiences, but on the objective, you know, from an objective perspective too. I tend to like look at all the angles and stuff, you know. But
listen, the more than obvious, I'm a versus battle groupie. No, I'm a groupie. I'm like really in the fucking comments. Like, I'm like, you know, I'm like, I lose my cool on that shit because I'm a rapper slash fake R&B wannabe singer. So when they get into it, Brandy and Monica, you know, I'm with the shit, with the smoke, you know, Patti LaBelle. I watch all of them, right? And so I'm gonna act like I'm the shade room or ball alert. Better yet, I'm ball alert. I'm watching the verses, and out of nowhere comes a comment from Hitman Stevie J
Right.
that says,
I be
"Fuck
telling her
that."
cut it out. Hey, log off, honey. Log
Hold on,
off.
hold on. No, leave him there. I see the comment from him on the verses come out of nowhere, and he said, "Fuck that, Faith Mary J." And it just went up.
I've seen a lot of. I've seen that a lot. I've seen Faith this one, Faith that. I mean, you know, that's nice to even be wanted to be seen, and I guess, but to be quite, I'm gonna be quite frank, and I know my fans and close friends are so they're like, you know, what are you on a Instagram live, bro? Because they know I don't really do much because my hands, you know, are always pretty full. And
well, you know, Faith, this is the big.
This is the most time.
This is the biggest
spend
fucking
on,
show in the game, Faith.
This
I'm
is
not
the most
lying
time,
to you.
right? I'm just saying, but I mean, I understand it and I appreciate and respect and very happy and proud of you for this. But in my real life, like, I got to etch out a whole bunch of time, make sure it's quiet, you know, make sure I got the space of mind. Ain't nobody upstairs fixing nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's always something going on over here.
So what do you, so are you interested in the verses? And we don't have to say Mary J, but would you do a verses?
I'm not quite sure. Hold on. Someone.
We got interrupted.
Yeah, no, I'm not interrupting. I'm just here to let you know that I'm here to support you. If you need to do that, I'll hold Ryder down. I'll take care of the crib. I'll make that. I need that to happen for the culture. Shout out to Swiss Beats and Timbo.
Timberland.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, for the culture, that's amazing.
Stevie want the smoke, boy. Oh my God. Yo.
Ay. But
yo.
I'm not really. I don't know. I mean, there's so.
I mean, I love it. I'm not in no rush to do it.
I don't really. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't.
No,
really
I see it. I see it. But you know, the thing with me is I'm a sore loser and a worse winner.
But see, I'm not in competition. I don't really.
There you go.
I mean, the competition.
So,
that's not a competition thing.
Please, I'm talking. I'm answering what he just said, my love. He wants it. Yeah. Hey.
I'm telling you, I wouldn't bring it up. You know, hey, listen. You know, he know. Everybody know Mary, my sister. I wouldn't bring it up, but I seen Stevie hit that one comment one time that floated to the top.
Oh God.
And
But you know, because I see what Swiss and them doing. I see what Swiss and Timberland doing, and that's beautiful right now. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge.
Well, I need as a business person, I need some more details. I just need to understand what this is all about. You know,
celebration of the culture.
Okay.
But listen, Faith. If you're not comfortable with it, you ain't.
I mean, I'm not comfortable. I've never really, you know, even back in the day, you know, Puff. He's you know, it's competition. You got to, and I'm like, well, I'm not competing with nobody. I'm just doing what I do.
That's
like,
right.
But I am happy that people see that as a sign of respect, and I'll take it. But I don't necessarily, you know, I don't know. Why should I single myself out to pit myself against?
You're not going against
anyone.
It's just
like I just, you know.
It's just you playing different songs. She got hits, you got hits. It's just
so a lot of people have hits. So let's all the R&B ladies like, what do you mean? Why I gotta be us?
First of all, Stevie J might have a Teddy Riley moment. No, I'm betting. Yo, listen, babe, I'm going to Vegas to bet that Stevie J will have a Teddy Riley moment at that motherfucker.
Oh, you know he will. He gonna pull out every instrument he play.
Yo, oh yes, oh yes.
Whatever you want me to do, baby, I got you.
Let's go a little bit back, Faith, right? Well, I got you for a little bit more. The Notorious movie, right? The scene where the girl walks in playing Faith and she spazzes out and goes bad in the hotel. Was that an accurate story? And if it was, was that an accurate story? I'll let you answer that.
Yes, it was very accurate. The only difference was the girl wasn't white.
Oh, the girl wasn't white?
No.
So it was a black chick in the bed, right?
She wasn't in the bed when I walked in there, but and she was fully dressed. However, the whole thing that made that happen was that big, at that time, he started going on the road very soon after we got married. He blew up right out the gate. And so I'm working on my first album. So I would sometimes fly out to see him, but every time he went and got to a hotel, he called me, let me know he was there, give me the number, because niggas ain't have cell phones like that then. So I had the hotel room number. So he called me this particular day and said, I'm gonna let such and such stay in my suite because they got a shit. Come on. None of that sounded right. So they were right there in Hampton, Virginia. That's just like a 30-minute flight. So I immediately got to working and got me a flight and called my homegirl Cheryl and asked her to come to our apartment in Brooklyn, stay with my daughter, jumped on the flight, and yeah. Because it ain't make sense. It ain't even sound right. Like, what do you mean? You ain't about to let nobody stay in your room.
No, it don't sound. He fucked up. He fucked up.
That wasn't.
But let me ask you a question. Thinking of the movie, did you like the girl that played you in the movie, and if not, if you would have had somebody else play Faith, what actress?
Absolutely. Shout out to Antonique Smith. The funny thing about that is, well, the ironic thing, I had met Antonique prior to that. She was signed to Flavor Unit Records at one time, and they managed me before. And I was going to go in the studio and write with her before. And so this is years before that, but when they mentioned her for the movie, I thought it was great because she's from Jersey like me, and I actually at the same time had just finished my memoir. So I got a chance to kind of let her see the early manuscript so she could see the actual stories of what happened, because it may not necessarily be, cinematically displayed in the movie because it's not my story. You understand? So I just wanted her to understand some of the backstories of what may have been portrayed in the movie. But I thought she did a great job.
All right, I did too, because I had Kim on here, and Kim absolutely hated the girl Tasha from Pop. She didn't like how she played Kim.
Oh wow, I thought she did a great job. I thought she was excellent, actually.
I liked it too. I had no complaints, but
I'm not
as a journalist,
I can't say how she feels, but
as a journalist, I asked Kim, like, yo, Kim, did you like? She was like, absolutely not. I would have never picked that girl to play me.
Oh wow.
I see you in pictures and stuff, smiling with Kim and all that. Is everything like beautiful with each other?
Well, I've always adored Kim. I mean, when I first met Kim, I had no inkling of anything going on with her and Big. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't meet her in the vein of, I'm this man's wife and I know you fucking him. You know what I'm saying? That wasn't.
But I'm thinking every girl who has a man that got girls somehow working with him, thinks some shit is going on somehow.
But that was never my thing. I wasn't in this industry. You know what I mean? So that wasn't my thought. Big treated me like I was very special, and that's why it was kind of shocking when I did find out. I mean, obviously I found out about other women before her, but I mean, when I found out, I was shocked because I'm not stupid either. But at the same time, I didn't come into our relationship like, looking over my shoulder like, what you doing? Because I really didn't have a reason to. He never made me feel like that.
I got a funny story for you, right? I've said it before, but it's a funny story. I was hanging out with Biggie when he was making Hypnotize. I was in the studio with him. and you had called,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't tell you what you told them, but you must have told them on the phone something like, yo, you in there hanging out with bitches, and you must have said whack bitches, bum bitches, crackhead looking bitches, or something like that. And he waited for you to answer that. He answered that. He said, yo, why they can't be model bitches? And yo, I started dying laughing. I was an innocent bystander. He let you get your shit off, and he was like, well, why they can't be model bitches? And we started dying laughing. It was crazy. You know, this guy was so charismatic. He never changed.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the very, 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 very few rappers that I knew Biggie when he started underground. I actually gave Biggie his first show ever in history at the Fever. I booked him for a show when he had Party and Bullshit. I got to fly everything. So we was cool ever since then. And he blew up and became number 1, 2, and 3 on Billboard. And I remember I went to a Vibe magazine party, and I was walking up, and it was mad. I had dropped my second album, and it was just like 500 people around the truck. And Big was standing up there, and I was walking over there. I was like, who that? And when I seen Biggie, myself. So everybody out there, y'all got to listen. Not everybody changed. It be your perception of the person that changed. Mm-hmm. So I looked at Biggie and I said, that nigga probably changed. And out of all 500 people, he looked over them and saw me and was like, yo, Crack, yo, Joe, yo. Same Biggie. I walk up. He got Little Kim and C's with him, right? And then he tells Little Kim in front of me, yo, what album we been listening to all day? And she was like, your new album. And he was like, yo, my brother, I'm proud of you. And I was like, wow. Here I was, like everybody else that watches us and be having their own perception about him. I thought he changed. And the man, the same thing. He was the same guy forever to the death. And YouTube is so iconic. Like the pictures of you and him with you laying your head on his chest and he got the black on. And like it just felt like a movie, like something that was meant to happen. For me watching from the outside in. And what was that like from going from Faith to Biggie's wife to On Top of the Universe? Now you're walking around, you talented, classic album, but you got B.I.G. What was that like?
Well, everything happened so quickly in terms of us meeting, getting married. I mean, to kind of, I try my best to correct it every chance I get, but people say we got married, and it's kind of a legend that we got married in 7 days. That's not true. We got married closer to like 2.5 months after we met. I mean, not that that's like eons apart, but everything happened so quickly. But mind you, I was already like you said, I had written on Mary's My Life album. I had written on Usher's first album, all while I was negotiating my deal with Bad Boy. So I wasn't necessarily, I even remember when we got married and people thought it was like a what do you call those things?
Like a gimmick, a stunt.
Right, exactly.
The
whole
social
media thing, ploy. And I'm like, people actually do that? Like, actually, I wasn't thinking about none of that. Like, when everybody's like, y'all got to tell Puff. I'm like, well, why? Like, we grown. Like, what's the big deal? So, I mean, but it happened very quickly. And I don't think I looked at it in the sense of what it looked like to everyone else. We fell in love and we just were inclined to get married. And we did. And I don't think neither of us knew things were going to take off the way they did, like soon as
you guys is like,
came out.
you guys is like John F. Kennedy and his wife. I mean, it was so iconic. Now it's the new norm for, people to, famous people to do this. But it was so iconic and you killing the game, he's killing the game, and triumph turns into tragedy, meaning like, you know, too much shit was going on. Too much shit was going on. And I know you probably tired of answering this question, and everybody that answer you this question, and everybody, but this is the big show. And so that one photo with Tupac, the one photo, right?
With
With Tupac. Tupac.
And me or Big?
You and Tupac. And it's in the middle of the whole entire shit. When I see it, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? Right? And I know you're tired of probably answering this, but this is the big show. This is probably the last time you ever got to answer this. What was that about? That like was the beef on already, or that was before the beef? You know.
Well, correction, I never have to answer it if I don't want to. However, I don't have
you ain't gotta answer it.
I don't have a problem ever, you know,
you ain't got to answer shit if you don't.
However, when I met Tupac, I was actually in LA trying to get work as a writer. I was out here writing with a producer and his new group and, you know, kind of staying with them in their apartment. And we just happened to go out that night to the Hollywood Athletic Club. This was like between my first and second album. And I remember this was shortly after I was told that Mary wanted her voice off of my record, which we did that song together on my first album. So I was confused. It was a lot that I didn't really know as far as the dynamics with why that happened. At that time, I do recall, you know, and Big and I were, you know, not in the greatest place, but I recall him they used to get like crank calls and people hanging up and stuff like that. But you gotta, you know, back then it wasn't like now. Everything wasn't real time. So it wasn't like if that happened, it might take a month for you to see somebody say something in a magazine, or they may not go on the radio in your city, right? You know what I'm saying? So it took a minute for things to make their rounds to kind of seem a little more believable or accurate, or, you know, or you got to hear from that the person themselves said it than today. So yeah, there were mumblings of things, but I was out here trying to do something opposite of kind of bad boy. You know, I was trying to not be around Big because he was on some bullshit, but at the same time, I was out here to make money as a writer, and that had nothing to do with Tupac whatsoever. That was really just a chance meeting at a club. Actually, Tretch, who I knew already, was with him that night, and that's who actually came and made the introduction. So
yeah, but you do know, let's call that a picture gone bad. Like I've been in a picture gone bad. Like, you know, yeah, that's a picture gone bad. Like, you know, and you know, just so much like speculations, and it's just overpowering. You in this turmoil, man. It was just too much. I think with you guys, we all grew up.
Let me just interject for a moment, because you gotta, in that moment, there was no way me thinking that I met him would lead to anything. You know what I mean? Like in that moment, that was there was no reason for me to think anything further than that particular moment. You know what I'm saying?
I know, Faith, but what I'm saying, without you knowing, Tupac, rest in peace, turned that picture into the first line of the diss record.
Well, listen, I just recently found out from doing a project for TV that the photographer who took that picture was paid to make sure he got a picture with us in it together. I just found this out 20-some years later on everything. Like they said, the guy said he's had to live with that forever, because once they found out I was there, he was instructed to make sure he got a photograph. But I probably would have taken the picture anyway. I called Big right away. I was like, I met your friend. You know, Big really felt like that's his homie. So I didn't feel like it was like, I'm like, I met your friend Tupac. I didn't think really anything of it like that. So
Yeah,
until
man.
we saw these articles and things were, you know, were actually coming to seem like they were actually a little more true, that he felt that way. Because you got to remember, Big didn't want to believe, you know, he didn't understand. He's like, there's no way he could really think that. There's no way he could feel that way. So
Yeah, and so damn man, that was the moment in hip hop, huh? And then you gotta you
a moment.
yeah.
Yeah, I've had many. That's easy for you to say.
Nah, I've had my moments. I've had my moments.
I
Like,
mean, that led to way more than a moment, but you know, God built me right.
yeah, man, because you know Alicia Keys came on here, and I use this line all the time. And I said, Alicia, what Grammy, what song, what money, what house, what is your greatest accomplishment? And she says, my greatest accomplishment is staying sane in this business. And this is the type of shit me and you know, if we could cut through the air, this is the shit me and you talking about on here. Is staying sane.
Right.
Like, you know, so that's why I tell you, when I started outside, look at your interviews, and I said, you've been through a lot. You know what I mean? I've been through a lot. My best friend died, my sister the same week. I went through depression for 2 months straight, seeing the therapist. Like, I know when somebody's been through a lot, and I still can't imagine it because, you know, you were born in this game into like hip hop royalty. Like, you know, it's hip hop royalty. And all these things happen. You lose your husband at a young age. You know, you got to deal with all the shit that come with it, all the bullshit for years. And I really got to commend you for staying sane. No,
Thank
that's real talk.
I mean, you know, I like I said, God knew what he was doing. Because I don't, you know, I know that, you know, even in the not so great times, every lesson is still a blessing, you know?
Oh, yeah, that's a fact. That's how I look at that all the times, whether it's good or bad. You know, I always say, this is my line, my quote. It said, let your darkest moments bring your most clarity. This is a Fat Joe quote. And it's because that's when you know who your true friends are. That's when you know what you built of. That's, you know, shit that would bother us back in the days that we've been. Now we shake that shit off like it's nothing. Like now we like, oh no, like we done did that one already. Like, we like,
Right.
oh no, what? They still coming with that type of shit. Like they
My
ain't up on the new shit.
he's like, you're so nonchalant. I'm like, well, I'm just not about to waste energy and you know, time on stuff that just don't make sense.
Now you right. God is the greatest. God is the greatest. And you know, all these years later, man, you still got a huge career. You beyond a living legend, an icon. You know, like I told you, I went in my own versus battle with you. You got a mean 20 clip for for anybody. You're like your
Right,
20
thank
clip.
you.
Oh no, you got a mean.
I've never picked that 20 clip, you know.
Oh no, I picked the 20 clip. Like I picked the 20 clip, and I'm like, yo, she ready to give anybody the business in some shit like this. But you know, man, the music is legendary, it's iconic. Every song, you know what I'm saying? Every song, and I like songs of yours that ain't the hits. You know what I'm saying? Like I like the album fillers, is so that's that real shit. You know what I'm saying? And I've always man, I put your 20 against just about anybody on a versus celebration of life. You know what I'm saying?
Is that 20 just Faith Evans records? That's not including my features.
Well, you could feature. Oh, you definitely gonna feature the one more chance. I mean, how you not gonna do that?
I mean, you know, we we talking about like your Georgie Porgies and your, your How's It Going Downs, I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Heartbreak
yeah, I'm just
Hotel.
saying, I know that, thank God, that people wanted to work with me, but my features certainly helped sustain my career in probably those times that I was not about to go and make an album, but.
Well, you know what's so beautiful about the R&B genre is like, you guys live forever. And so the difference between R&B and hip hop, other than LL Cool J having Rock the Bells radio, R&B got Urban AC. So your records are playing in the radio station right now as if it came out today on the Urban AC. All day, every R&B, Frankie Beverly and Maze, this shit rocking right now, Urban AC. They acting like that shit came out yesterday out the plastic, right? But with hip hop, it's like, if you ain't popping right now, I mean, in this moment, your shit is like, your shit 3 years old, your shit is like an old school, like, and they also play with rappers' money once they not like playing on the radio all day, every day. So a rapper could go from being #1 in the country, making 200,000 a show, to people playing them, promoters giving them 15 grand, 20 grand, 3 years later.
See, the thing about that, I have to beg to differ with, is because maybe the scale changes, but I think generally rappers get paid more per show than the average R&B artist. Now, maybe it won't last for as many years, but but
I think they get that first money, that first rush. Like, God forbid what Roddy Ricch is making right now, a show. Like,
I've probably never gotten that in my whole 25-year career. You understand? Like, for one show. Right.
But I still see, when the COVID is out, I still see Keith Sweat working every week. I still see Stephanie Mills working every week. I still see all our favorite artists, our R&B artists, still performing, and concerts, arenas.
Wait, they at arenas now?
Yeah, they still at arenas.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I've seen like the drive-up shows and stuff like that.
Oh, no. I'm saying before COVID.
Oh, before COVID.
Our favorite R&B legends.
Oh, yeah.
They still rocking stadiums.
Absolutely.
So that's good. I'm going to let you go, Faith. I got to ask you 2 last questions. Light-hearted questions. Who are your top 5 favorite R&B singers of all time?
Say hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, what's up, man?
That's my son Ryder. Our son Ryder.
Big boy.
Yo, Ryder, what's up, man?
Say what's up.
Computer.
Computer.
Yes, come on. You want your computer?
Okay, 1 second. Go get the computer.
I got
it. Hey, Faith. That's our blessings right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's our blessings right there. Because people, I got a different story than you. When little Joey was born, you want to hear some real shit? When little Joey was born, his mother and me, we wasn't even together. That was like some makeup shit. When he was born and the doctor tells us he's autistic, she looks at me and tells me, I can't raise this kid. I got to give him up for adoption.
Oh, wow.
And I'm only like 17, 18. And so my mother and father heard that, and I heard that. I was like, fuck no, that's my son. You crazy? I'll raise him. We'll raise him. And we raised Joey his whole life. No lie, his moms might have came to 1 birthday party in 27 years. And, life is hard. You know what I'm saying? But we got to deal with whatever's thrown at us. You know what I'm saying? So You know, you smile, I smile, we think. But you know, shit really, you know, this man I got back here, let me see if I can show you. This man, he's the #1 Southside, well, my favorite of all time.
Is
His
that
name is Hector Lavoe.
Hector Lavoe?
Oh, you
What
know
do you
my
mean?
Hector
El
Lavoe?
Cantante. What are you talking about?
El Cantante. And my
Hello.
thing with him is his
Hello.
#1 song, El Cantante, he's talking about he go to the show, he perform for everybody. Everybody look at him and tell him he got it made and everything. But nobody asks him, how's he doing? And what pain he's going through. And what things he had to go through. And that's why I love him so much. You know, and the last question, Faith, and we get out of here. What are your top 5 favorite R&B singers of all time?
Oh, that's so difficult.
Yeah, that's why we asked it.
Well, that's a hard one to do off the top of my head.
Who's your 5 favorite?
But male, female, like, oh God, that's very hard.
I'll give you both. I'll give you 5. You can pick.
But I it's hard. It's very hard.
You can't do it.
I can't give you a top nothing, because
let me ask you a question.
Then I'll be like, oh damn, but
I'm gonna ask you a question I asked Patti LaBelle. My favorite singer of all time, my favorite female singer of all time is Stephanie Mills. That's who my mother and my aunt used to be cleaning the house to, rocking. That's my girl, right? But my favorite singer of all time is Luther Vandross. Rick Ross says Teddy Pendergrass is his favorite, and Spike Lee says Marvin Gaye is the best vocalist. All 3 of them we think is the best. So I give you 1 out of the 3. Which one you think is the best, has the best vocals out of those 3?
See, I was gonna say Stevie Wonder.
Oh, look at that shit. So listen, yo, babe, I
gotta
put you the
3,
4th one.
Out of those 3, you said Marvin, who?
Marvin, Luther, and Teddy.
Oh, well, it would certainly be, I would choose Marvin. But Luther was a more of a, and I didn't get to be in Marvin's world. He probably was as well. But I know Luther was just such a genius with the whole productions of his shows, and his whole team was just tight, like a arranging genius, a writing genius. But Marvin, just something about the way he just had this little thing that little oil he put on it. Like, I don't know. I think Marvin.
You know, I speak to Spike Lee. I said, Spike Lee, my favorite is Luther. He looked at me, he go, really? It's not Marvin Gaye.
I would give them a tie for different reasons, but the reason Marvin would have that one is because he just, it was a little bit more of a little, what do you call it? Like,
edge.
It just had a little bit more just, machismo on that thing right there.
Hey, yo, Faith, listen, man, we love you. I thank you for coming on the show. God bless you, your family. We're going to keep cheering you on. We're going to keep championing you. We're going to keep streaming your music. Shout out to my brother, Stevie J. That's my guy. Many, 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 many years.
Yes.
And he knows I love him. That's my brother. I know he crazy, but fuck it. It is what it is. But we love y'all 2 together. We love y'all. And thank you for coming on the big show, Faith.
Thank you for having me. Thanks to all of your supporters for tuning in. And shout out to all my faithfuls. Y'all know when I get talking, I don't even be looking at those things, but I see them on there. So thank y'all for logging in. And thanks for having me again, Fat Joe. And give your wife my regards. She's always been super cool every time I see her. So much love.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Faith.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
You don't know who I know. You don't know who I know. Every night, the biggest and the best in the Wild Cherry Pepsi Friday. Wild Cherry Pepsi Friday. Stevie. Listen, Lisa Brown, what's up? Thank Faith Evans for coming on here. Yo, Emmanuel Lewis, Webster himself. This is the big. Every day, yesterday, Wyclef Jean. The day before, Jermaine Dupri. It's insanity. What's going on in the big show? Shout out to Roll Parrish, our brother in the bubble. Hitman Stevie J. Man, let me tell you something, man. If you really think about it, Faith been through a lot. She's holding it down. That's what you call a strong woman. She's holding it down. She's been holding it down. And let me tell you something, man. She got a mean 20 clip for verses. A mean one. The mayor, it's the big. And you don't know who I know. And so we start something from nothing. And here we are. Revolt TV. Every Tuesday, 10 p.m. We on TV now. That's right, Stevie. Stevie said, been holding shit down. You already know, Steve. We not playing with these people, man. Tuesday, Big Sean. Rashid Bel Hassid. Salam alaikum, my brother. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Kifa alaikum, alhamdulillah. Everybody in Dubai, what's up? Dubai is tuned in. And so, let me tell you something. I had a real serious conversation with my wife today. She absolutely hates that I come on here every night after my guests get over and I start taking shots at all the competition. She hates it. She says, why do you gotta talk about the competition? Why you gotta talk about these? Just do your show. Why you wanna? And I tell her, you don't understand, you probably never understand. But I gotta talk my shit. I got to get in my bag. And so I tell her, and you people probably won't believe me, but this shit has never happened before. I don't have Spotify or Amazon, Apple, 1,000 radio stations with me booking talent. We do this shit ourselves, me and a 14-year-old, my daughter. And so every night for 6 months, you get to hear shit you never heard in your life. And so, it ain't normal. And if I let these people, I've been doing some pretty incredible shit my whole life. Take it arrogant if you want. I'm not arrogant. But they've been sweeping it under the rug like it's regular. If it was coaching and street basketball, Butter's on here, hey Butter, I won 7 chips. Nobody else ever did. They'll sweep that. Hey, regular. Fat Joe did that. You know, being over 40 years old, putting out a 4 platinum single, like all the way up. Hey, it's just Fat Joe. I regular, sweep it under the rug. Hey. Somebody else do that shit. They'll call them the gods of all gods. So we start a show by ourselves. And just to get through COVID with you guys, the shit go on TV. We talking to people all over the Netflixes, the Amazons, the this about making it even bigger. And we on every night, bringing you the biggest, whoever you can name in the world. And it's Fat Joe, it's a regular thing. It's regular, you know, it ain't nothing to talk about. Right now, you got Kanye West going on a tantrum about owning your masters and being independent. I told you guys that 15 years ago. I've been independent 15 years ago. Going up against guys who signed to major labels, they got 1,000 guys working their music. We've been having a 3-man team for 15 years, putting out quadruple platinum shit that we own. That's nice, Fat Joe. It's nothing. It's okay. It's a regular. Nothing to brag about, guys. And now all of a sudden, everybody got to go independent and this. Yo, bro. I'm going to celebrate the wins. And so it gets me mad because, you know, when she talks, I listen. Fan Mio in the building, Pepsi in the building. When she talks, I listen. Shout out to Rock. Honorable mention. They always with us. Much finer vodka. But when she talks, I listen. And so I'm trying to hear her out. And the inner Fat Joe, the inner one, is like, fuck that, go to war. Give them hell. And so, I gotta do it. And anybody who loves Fat Joe and knows him for real, you like that shit. Because he's positive, he gives back to the community, he loves us. Let me tell you something, you guys. Let me tell you some real shit. I was talking to Khaled last night. I couldn't sleep, and he was up, and I went to his house, and we did some fat boy shit, and we ate some stewed chicken, and we was talking shit. And I said, Khaled, man, on this show right here, I have been dropping so much jewels that took me 27 years in this business to learn, and I give it to you up and coming artists and everybody for free. And it doesn't have to be hip hop. You can use that with your everyday life. I've been giving you jewels that they won't tell you, bro. And so what you gotta understand is I ain't gotta have all the money. I'm good. I feed my family. We happy. We eat steak. We good. But I try to help you and give you the jewels and the knowledge. They won't give it to you, bro. When I was coming up, I was opening the door. My elders, the guys who opened the doors, the executives, they knew there was a fire behind that door. Nobody told me. They let me open the door and get burned. And so I've been trying drop gems every day, jewels every day. Today I called a Bronx Borough president and said, listen, you know what, man, my stores, we always have big lines and a lot of kids there, man. Bring some voting stuff. Let's sign them up at my store. Up NYC, let's sign them up. It's just the regular shit we can do to get something to happen. I know Static. Static Selector said, Joe, you're a different breed. I know. And everybody's not like me. And I tell you, there's some family members that wouldn't give you a glass of water in the desert. There's family members of yours you have that wouldn't give you a glass of water in the desert. And so I'm here available all the time, trying to tell you how to get ahead in life. How to not fall for the stuff I fell for. I fell many times, I tell you. When I was in junior high school, I got my ass whipped every day by 20 guys. I'm not embarrassed to tell you. I got bullied every day, but guess what? I fought back. I fought back every time. And yeah, I'll tell you a story, right? One day, Tone Arness, he's not Arness no more, he's Tone Patron, real guy out of Brooklyn. If you want to know who he is, he got an episode on Dog in the Yard with Pistol Pete. Tone Patron, they call him now. But Tone comes to the studio, and I'm already Fat Joe, the rapper, legend, whatever, you know, lean back, everything's out. Like, so he comes with a dude, and the dude comes with him in the studio, and you know, and the dude says, so Tone says, yo, my man, he says, his wife knows you. So I was like, word, where's your wife from? He said, yo, my wife said she knows you. You went to junior high with her. Immediately, I said, because anybody who went to junior high school with me, 148 on 170 and 3rd Ave, 169, they know Fat Joe got beat up every day. He got jumped by 20 kids every day. So when he said that, I got embarrassed because here I am now, I'm the Don. I put in my work. Everybody know what it is in the streets. It is what it is. So when he tells me that it takes me to a vulnerable place and when I used to get bullied, I'm like, oh, wow. So I said, well, I guess she told you I got beat up every day. He said, yeah, I heard that, but she says it different. I said, what you mean? She said, you the realest guy she knows because you went outside every day and you fought 20 guys by yourself every day. And so she looked at it different. She didn't look at it like Fat Joey getting beat up every day. She said, God damn, this guy's fighting 20 guys every day. Every day. And so in life, we meant to go through different obstacles and different bad periods, and it's only preparing us for the future. You know, I had a best friend, his name was Tony Montana, and I'm going to leave it at that because now I might be talking too much shit, right? Shout out Eric Sherman, the living legend, EPMD. I got to get him on soon. Next week, Eric Sherman, you're on the show. So, my brother Tony Montana died. He was my best friend. To this day, I haven't met a better person on the earth, a human being. And so it was Joe and Tone. And we had so much beef that we didn't know who we fought the day before. Like, we was just wilding for the night. And that's how it was. And when he passed away, because he was crazier than me. His mother, I don't really tell these stories because his mother don't really like me talking about him like that. But he was 100 times crazier than me. I was actually the nicer guy. I was the guy you talk to squash stuff. Adam Rodriguez, actor, heartthrob to the stars. You don't know how many of my cousins call me like, oh my God, you know Adam Rodriguez? He's hot. So when my brother Tone got killed, people were like trying me. So they thought, you know, Tone was the real one. Joe got over because he was down with Tone. So give or take, allegedly or whatever, I had to be in them streets putting in that work. Legend. And it didn't take long for them to realize, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. We thought we found weakness. We didn't find that. This guy's crazy. And so forget that. And so I had to deal with that. Walk them streets when my best friend got murdered. And I'm like, why God? And I pray so much because to this day I got my tattoo in memory of Tony on my arm, guys. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And that's the only tattoo I got. And but I learned from there, I thought why I had to go through this at such a young age. And then in the future, we rapping, it's not street, but I lose my best friend, Big Pun. And I go through depression and all that. But I was never scared musically. I was never scared of us being successful. And being that I got through that time with my brother Tone Montana, business is successfully wise, I never panicked because I've been there before. DJ Kid Capri, what's up? So you gotta understand, God put stuff in your life that seems unfair, but it's really to prepare you for something that happens in the future. And so just know there's lessons in good times and in mostly bad times. Yo, Kid Capri, DJ Kid Capri, he never been on the show, man, this guy. Every time I talk to him about being on the show, hopefully he'll grace us with his presence next week. So anyway, guys, I thank you for being on here with me. I know LeBron is playing. Shout out to Faith Evans, her husband, Stevie J. You see how I do it. I could have hit Faith Evans, but I got to hit a husband first, out of respect. And that's how I do Little Kim. That's how I do. I don't care. I hit Swiss Beats for Alicia. No funny business with Joe. This guy said, there's a lesson in everything. That's right. That's right. Sometimes I talk my shit and I get too real on here and people get scared. People who love me like, please, Joe, no, not that story, please. Please, Joe, don't go there. Shout out to my brother Ted Smooth. We're going to do something, being that I started so late. We're going to do something next week, me and my brother Ted Smooth. And you already know when the show go to that Netflix or that Amazon or that Hulu, and it's the new David Letterman, my brother Ted Smooth is going to be right there with me. 1,000,000%. You got that. Shout out to Wild Cherry Pepsi. Shh, look how beautiful that joint look right there. Hey, yo, Kenny, you see the Wild Cherry? Kenny Burns. Kenny Burns, you see that Wild Cherry? You see that Wild Cherry? Ha! Yeah. He said me too. Oh, man, boy, that boy Charles. But, yo, listen, man. Love you guys, man. Thank you, man. This is a scary time. You helped me get through this time, man. Thank Faith Evans, man. Thank Wyclef and the one and only Jermaine Dupri, and he told us how he met Janet Jackson, and Wyclef told us how Michael Jackson walked up in the studio and smelt all the ganja in the air. He had nothing but Rasta gangsters in the studio. That was like, oh shit, it's really Michael. Like, what do you want to know? And so what happened was, the reason I got in, and I don't call this a podcast. This ain't a podcast. This shit is history being documented. And one day, I was watching hip-hop documentaries, and I'm from the Bronx, where hip-hop was born. And I'm a hip-hop historian. I think I know everything. I quite possibly don't know everything, but I think I know everything. And I turn around and I watch these hip-hop documentaries, and these people lying on these shit. This is real shits on HBO, on Netflix, and I'm looking at the shit, and I'm like, no, it didn't. That did not happen like that. Am I wrong? And I'll call a Grandmaster Caz or Melly Mouse, Crazy Legend. They were like, no, sir, that did not happen like that. And then something else happened. I'll be like, oh, no, that did not. And let me tell you something. I'll tell you a story. When I was in trouble financially, because I got hit for them taxes, the only friend in the hip-hop game who pulled me to the side and asked me like a brother and said, listen, man, do you need to hold something? Was Pitbull Armando. Out of all the guys I ever worked with or got money with, who actually pulled me to the side and said, Papo, you need to hold something? Of course, I'm not that guy. I did not take it. But I love the fact that somebody cared enough about me to offer that to me. And so I tell you this story because I was watching a Latino Revolution documentary. And it pretty much said Pitbull is the first Latino rapper to rap. And I love him to death. I just told you when I needed somebody the most, the man came try to put money in my hands. And I said, no, my brother, I can't take it. I'm not that type of dude. Don't worry, I'll be back. I'll come back. But I love him so much. But I'm looking at the documentary saying, and I'm like, what the fuck? And it's not his fault. But I said, I gotta get into the hip-hop information game. So, because if you want to know how it really happened, I'll let Snoop Dogg tell you how it happened. If you really want to know how it happened, I'll let Rakim tell you how it happened. Or Chuck D. Or if you think Nick Cannon's in some trouble, he'll come on here and tell you for himself. That way, 20, 30 years from now, when kids come back and look back at hip-hop, they'll be like, oh, no, that didn't happen like that. Why? How do you know? Because LL Cool J told Fat Joe. What do you mean? LL himself. You need to go back to them old school tapes. Call IG. It's documented. He said it himself. And so we're not going to let people, so-called critics or influencers or whatever, change the narrative. Change the narrative to suit their agenda. You get what I'm saying? They'll tell a story that suits them. And so that's what this whole show is about. Listen, y'all, put God first. God is the greatest. God bless you. Believe in him in the good and the bad times. I'm scared to fly. Y'all know that. So I want you all to think something, not just talking shit. Whatever your biggest fear is, whatever your biggest fear is, if it's rats and you in an apartment, imagine you being in a room for 16 hours with 100 million rats running around your legs. Imagine you don't like butterflies and butterflies is 10,000 butterflies in a room. When I fly in an airplane, every single second that I'm on an airplane, I am suffering at the highest level. I can't like it no matter what. I went on vacation 3 weeks ago to the beautiful, most beautiful place I've been, Turks and Caicos. My brother Khaled took me for my birthday. He got the best plane you can get. It was a Global 650. I still ain't like it. It's my biggest fear. So imagine if you had to make money, because I got to get on the plane to pay my bills. Imagine you had to do your biggest fear over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. But you get on it to make sure your family's good. And so that's what you got to do. I see the Remy Mafia for life. I seen my sister today FaceTime me, my goddaughter FaceTime. My goddaughter FaceTimes me. She got God Papa's number. And we go, all right, guys. See you Monday. Well, tomorrow I let a couple of new upcoming artists rap on my IG. That's not the Fat Joe Show, but you can hit the DM if you're ready to get on there. You know, we put guys on last week. We had guys in the feds rapping on the, hungry. Peace, y'all.